People in the comment section keep making fun of my hat because it's getting kind of old. I've been doing gaming content for many, many, many years, and this one is getting a bit aged. So I reprinted it. I now have a fresh gaming hat. Let's get into some fresh gaming news. This new hat is so incredibly soft, so thanks to everybody that told me to replace it. Now, today we're going to talk about a very hot topic, one that I feel like people are afraid to discuss, which is just the simple idea of, are Bethesda liars? Are they telling us stuff that is just straight up, provably untrue? Let's discuss. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, to be perfectly clear, this is not directly a hate video against Bethesda. I actually know some Bethesda employees, and every person I've ever met that works at Bethesda, or places like Arcane, or Tango Gameworks, or even obviously id, they've all been incredibly nice, passionate people. I think this is a PR problem. I think they are saying things to the media, to gamers, that are just straight up obviously incorrect. And that's just starting to kind of annoy me. Now, to be fair, there is a lot of strange Starfield hate in general going on, so I feel like people are not properly analyzing the situation. Obviously, Starfield is a game that half of the internet completely loves, half of the internet completely hates. But I keep seeing stuff like, obviously, rather insane, pathetic Starfield glitches. The old trope of Bethesda games just working. Obviously, Bethesda games glitch a lot. Stuff like here where there's supposed to be a bunch of guys piling out of this ship, and they're just not. The game just breaks. Starfield breaks a lot, but all Bethesda games break a lot. Skyrim breaks, Fallout breaks. I don't have a problem with the glitches because, honestly, I think they're just kind of funny. This is not a harmful thing. You know, reload a save, this is all going to function. It is very funny that these guys just died and are flying around, but I've actually been talking about the fact that I've seen stuff like this going around. This is a big video by Beat-em-Ups, a personal friend of mine, very, very good friend of mine, obviously hang out with him all the time and stuff, and I thought his question here was very fascinating. His video, Bethesda are liars. He basically talks about his love for Starfield, but also how the game is just unequivocally not what was promised. Saying things like, you'll be able to explore with unparalleled freedom, and then putting us in teeny tiny boxes, whereas Skyrim is this big open experience, and then now you're getting nice little dialogue trees. It's just one of those things where Starfield is not a bad game. I don't think that Starfield is broken or messed up. It's just interesting to me that, like, for all the promises of it, Bethesda likes to talk too much about their own aptitude. I do think that a lot of the Starfield marketing of saying that this is the biggest Bethesda game and you can go anywhere, it's just straight up untrue. But the major motivation for this video is actually a tweet I made yesterday that actually went quite a bit viral, which is the fact that Bethesda has now confirmed that it is beginning development on Elder Scrolls 6. Actually consider that. They announced Elder Scrolls 6 5 years before they actually started making it. 5 years. They've had people assuming that it's been in development. Starfield is now beginning Starfield. The Elder Scrolls 6 has now officially entered early development. Now, I actually had to read this article because I was just so flabbergasted, but they said, yeah, everybody at the studio is working on Starfield, but our next project is the Elder Scrolls 6. And somebody asked Todd Howard, why the heck did you announce it 5 years ago? Todd Howard suggested, looking back, he probably would not have revealed the Elder Scrolls 6 in the same way. I probably would have announced it more casually. One of the major reasons that people are very annoyed is because this teaser trailer seems to imply that the game is actually being made. If you watch a trailer that's showing a huge map of possibly Tamriel or some huge map, this looks like the game is being made. It looks like you're actually designing it, even though it is just a PNG logo that says Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think that anybody who watched this in 2018 assumed that the game wasn't in development. Like, how are we supposed to watch that trailer and say, wow, that's going to be great when it starts being made in 5 years? This, in my opinion, is dishonest. Now, of course, there is some conspiracy theories that they did this to try and improve the company value. There is a lot of talks that Bethesda was discussing a buyout with Microsoft. Maybe them trying to announce Elder Scrolls 6 was so they could get an extra $10 billion in the acquisition. But this is still, in my opinion, straight up lying. A lot of people in the comments are just being like, okay, I'm glad that it's being made, but early development. This game's going to get a 7 out of 10 when it comes out in 2030. I'm glad it's finally entering development 5 years after it was announced. This is a PR tool to soften the disastrous unveiling of Fallout 76. It's just so bizarre to me that we're in a space where I feel like I've talked about this in a positive and a negative sense, but it's very weird to me that games are just about the build-up almost more than playing them. There's been so much discussion of Starfield or Fallout 76 or obviously just random spin-off stuff that Bethesda's worked on in the past. And it's one of those things where you spend so much time online analyzing trailers, trying to discuss it with your friends, that when the game kind of comes out, it's almost just shocking that it finally exists. I have been hearing about Starfield for so many years that it's baffling that the game is actually out. And while I don't really like Starfield, it's cool that it's here. I guess I'm in a spot where I'm disappointed in Elder Scrolls 6, and we haven't even seen it yet. When we eventually see it, I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm excited for it. But it's really weird that we're in a spot where you can say, hey, we're making the sequel to Skyrim. It's going to come out in 6 or 7 or 20 years. Like, let's say best case scenario, it comes out in 5 years, 2028. That means it was a 10-year development cycle. 10 years from when we saw the logo to when we're able to press the start button. I guess a lot of my frustration is the fact that this kind of stuff, in my opinion, it's evocative of just how, I don't know, how sloppy the gaming industry is. Some stuff is launched unfinished. Games are constantly talked about before they're actually being done. There's so much stupid boardroom talk. This is one of those announcements that I don't think Todd Howard decided on. Literally, PR people just said, roll it out. Let's pretend it's real. I like when Bethesda does stuff like what they did with Fallout 4, where they announced a game and launched it 6 months later. I feel like Bethesda's done this actually quite well in the past, saying, here's a game, now you can play it. Here's some DLC, now you can play it. Here's an expansion, now you can play it. There used to be this very tight, constrained timeline of hype and payoff. And now I feel like, if anything, Bethesda is falling victim to this big amalgamous blob that the industry has become, of profits and quarters and boosts and trying to make sure you hit your quotas. I'm not going to pretend Starfield is a failure. I'm not one of those people. Starfield has obviously been a massive success. It's actually already got 6 million players, which is just jaw-dropping. Clearly, Bethesda knows how to make the games that their fans want. Putting them on Game Pass as well, I think is going to open them up to a huge chunk of more casual gamers that maybe would not have paid $70 for a new Bethesda game. My issue just comes down to the marketing. You can make whatever kind of games you want, but this whole stupid tradition now of announcing stuff way before it exists is deceitful. We'll see what actually comes of it. I'm sure that they're going to make a bunch of crazy, bold claims about this. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have 8 billion hours of play and 40,000 quests, and you can get a scar on your cheek because you got cut with a sword. We'll see what it actually becomes. If the Elder Scrolls 6 actually even comes out, it's probably coming out on the next version of the Xbox, the next Xbox 5 or whatever. It's so far in the future. it's probably going to be Todd Howard's last game, and sending him into the sunset, it's probably going to be at least a unique, fun experience. I just hate this stupid, random, in my opinion, lying for no reason. Lying to get a couple extra sales. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for the future of Bethesda, or does it seem like they've kind of fallen to the dark side after Fallout 76? To be quite frank, Fallout 76 was so bad, I kind of distrust them from here on out. If they make good stuff, yay. If it's bad stuff, well, what do you expect? Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Is this hat bigger? Kind of looks like it's bigger, but I don't know. I can't tell. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.